Hi, everybody. So, today we're going to be talking about queer graphic novels. I just started dabbling in them about this year after I read the Heartstopper series and completely fell in love. And that just really started me a journey of, oh my God, there must be more. I must read every single queer graphic novel that has ever existed, especially ones that are made for adults. I think part of the reason why I fell in love is that a lot of the writers have really similar life experiences as I do. Obviously, just like a little bit similar. Lots of them went to like art school, and I am a graphic designer by trade. I went to design school, and lots of them are writing these graphic novels like in their 20s, early 30s. So a lot of it's about identity, self-discovery, queerness, navigating careers, and they're all huge topics that I've been grappling with. So it's really cool. It's like reading someone's diaries. And even if the graphic novel isn't like a memoir, I've just felt so seen. Without further ado, let's get into it. I have 5 novels that we're going to talk about today. So about Heartstopper, I have thoughts, and they're all good. So if you came here for a critique or a critical analysis, I'm sorry, you're going to have to try someone else's page. I can hear critique about books, but I cannot hear critique about Heartstopper. To me, Heartstopper just feels like a warm hug. It instantly became my comfort show. Maybe some of you know Heartstopper because of the TV series. I just can't believe how every single character looks exactly like how Alice drew them. It's wild to me. The casting was incredible. And just the intricacies that she deals with, not only like mental health struggles, but the intricacies of queerness without. Sometimes I find movies that are meant to speak to young adults or teens can just feel so like top heavy and like speaking from over here, and you can tell Alice was like writing it from a place of being there and being around that age, even if they weren't, like really being able to put themselves to what that high school experience felt like and how teenagers really think. I love the found family. It's like the dream group of friends. Everyone, like, they all have their flaws, but they all are so understanding and dynamic and each their own person. I also really love the exploration of asexuality in these novels. I'm not going to tell you any more because I don't want to give any spoilers, but a book that's so much about relationships and love. The character who does come out as asexual, just it just felt like so encompassing of like the whole experience, and the whole experience is in a friend group dynamic. Yeah, you can tell Alice is speaking from a place of like deep reflection and authenticity. I will be going to the theater when the movie comes out. I will be taking all my friends. I will be forcing every single one who hasn't read the first Heartstopper to read it, and then we're going to the movie. Some people are like, young adult, I don't like that stuff, but I don't care. I mean, for God's sake, I have like these novels on my shelf because they just bring me so much comfort. If you love Heartstopper, I highly recommend reading all the other books. I mean, so I read Solitaire is top of my list. Some of the other books like Nick and Charlie or This Winter, you really don't get much beyond the graphic novel. They just really did mirror each other. But Solitaire, I felt, was incredibly eye-opening about what was going on with Tori, and the fact that Alice wrote it first is just so cool. And the fact that like Solitaire came on and Nick and Charlie were just side characters in Solitaire, and then like as an exercise she wanted to explore them more and then just created this incredible series. Yeah, it's really cool. Solitaire does explore heavier themes. Like, I definitely wouldn't recommend it for someone who's still like school aged, and I would read the triggers. You feel like it's right for you. It's a really cool way to round out that Heartstopper family. So that's Heartstopper. Now, moving on, I'm gonna talk about Tillie Walden. And oh my god, I fell in love. The first book of theirs that I read was On a Sunbeam, and On a Sunbeam is really, really freaking cool. Tillie's art style is incredible, but I think the things that struck me the most in On a Sunbeam was the lighting and the choice of colors, like just flipping through it, like the beautiful oranges and purples and playing with darkness and the way like so much of the story was told by how the page was lit and what hues the page was colored in and where and how much of it was dark and how much of it was light, like yeah, and so it's beautiful. It's thick boy. It's a big novel. It's a big graphic novel, which I loved because I love being able to so many graphic novels that I've read are like one sitting, which is great. I mean, hey, I'm not gonna lie, it's good for the Goodreads books I've read this year, but it's there's something so special with picking up the same novel over a few days. It really creates this meaningful I don't know, it just really creates this meaningful connection when you have time to like sit and stew on the characters and then come back the next day and think about them some more and yeah. So I loved the length of On a Sunbeam. I honestly wish a lot more graphic novels were this long. So I just pulled up the Goodreads because I started trying to describe it from my head and yeah, not great. So I'm just going to read it to you. So it says throughout the deepest reaches of space, a crew rebuilds beautiful and broken down structures, painstakingly putting the past together. As a member, Mia gets to know her team, the story flashes back to her pivotal year in boarding school, where she fell in love with a mysterious new student. Soon, though, Mia reveals her true purpose for joining the ship to track down her long lost love. So it's a love story. It's a story of reuniting with your love from childhood and and it's queer and it's lesbian and it's just really cool. I don't know, lots of us have like let's have had crushes, especially being queer, unrequited crushes we didn't realize were crushes like in our childhood. And so it's something like really like soul comforting to see yeah, to see that love, to see them find it again in adulthood in such like a futuristic world like space. On a Sunbeam, tender, sweet, loved it. Highly recommend. I gave it 5 stars. I'd love to know what you give it. I hope you pick it up. Maybe you have already. Okay, my next book is also by Tilly. So I read this one after I read On a Sunbeam because I said, give me more. I need more. So, yeah, spinning spinning was creepy for me. It was creepy because it mirrored my life almost like really close. So it's a memoir. I believe Tilly wrote it when she was about 19, like pretty young. And like in the back, she says that it's not like supposed to have any conclusions drawn per se. Like it's more just like putting on the paper her experiences that she had and not the end. It's more like just to put it down on paper. This is my experience. I don't 100% know what I think of it yet, but I just need to get it out of my body. So, and like, so I grew up as a figure skater. I wasn't like in figure skating. It's unlike dance. Like there's strictly like competitive streams and like only some cities have competitive streams. Lots of small towns they don't have them. You have to go to the city. So like I was recreational. I still did a ton of competitions, but like the competitive stream is like the stream that like is working towards the Olympics. It's extremely expensive. They want like a minimum of 3 hours every day. They want your time all weekends. They want your whole summer. You have multiple coaches. um, you it's just extremely expensive and it's extremely demanding, and lots of people go to special schools for it so that they can train and skate at the same time, and so that because it's hard to be a competitive skater with traditional schooling. So Yeah, I wasn't like 100% in that world, but I mean, I did go to the rink 6 days a week, and I would go to a competitive skating club in the summer just so that I could learn from those coaches. It was intense. It was stepping into that world it was shocking to the system. It was shocking to see that some kids live this way every single day and with just enormous pressure. Spinning talks about Tilly's experience as a competitive figure skater. It's it talks about discovering her queer identity as being a figure skater, and like figure skating is such a heteronormative sport. Girls are expected to wear their outfits and their hair in a certain way. um, yeah, there isn't much room for individuality, and there sure isn't much room for queerness. This book, it really made me reflect. Like a lot of those memories, I set aside. I stopped skating. Um, I didn't think too much about them, and yeah, this this book really brought up a lot of those feelings when you're skating. Like one of the things that Tilly wrestled with is, what are you doing it for when you know you're not going to go to the Olympics? And like, why are you training so hard and so long and sacrificing your academics potentially if one day you're going to graduate and just stop, or you stop sooner? Like, what if tomorrow you just decide to stop skating? Why are you working so hard and sacrificing so much? Thoughts. Anyways, if you were a figure skater, highly recommend. Also recommend for anyone who is battling queer identity in their teens. I don't know if it's for everyone, but it was for sure for me. And it obviously was very much for Tilly, because just major reflections, and it honestly inspires me to like reflect on my life in that way, where you don't necessarily draw conclusions, but you just like state what happened and let the conclusions come from there. So that was spinning. All right, we've got two left. So, yeah, I'm from Canada, and specifically the community that my parents live in is very French. And so, when I was back home visiting my family, I went to the library, of course, and I found this whole wall of graphic novels. So, I realized that these were also French translated. So, the first one is Portrait of a Body, and it's by Julie Zelport. This one is so beautiful. It's not like a conventional graphic novel. It is more like a diary entry or a series of poems, or like reading through someone's reflections in their sketchbook. It's beautiful drawings in, I think, like pencil or some type of crayon. It reads like a diary. It's a collection of thoughts and reflections about coming out later in life. This is like memoir style, it's self reflection. So, some quotes that I want to read, because even before I planned on making this video, I took pictures of these quotes because they just felt so special to me. The first one says, "That summer, anytime I'd see a woman with a man, it felt like treason." And that quote is from talking about the summer that she came out. This just related to me on such a personal level, and I was like, wait, that wasn't just me. So it's nice to feel seen. And the last quote is, "One day I'd like to claim even the shaky lesbian that I am." And I think that's a beautiful way to wrap up talking about that book. The last one is by Miriam Mal. And again, this is French translated. If you're picking it up, make sure you get it in your language. This is more like a traditional graphic novel, really cool art style, really fun. Like, I don't know, it feels like women being weird, like weird woman drawings. Love it. So, in this book, Cleo, our main character, is dating her boyfriend, Charles. And then Cleo is out at an event and she meets this girl named Farah, who has a past with Charles. And Farah gets like really uncomfortable and wants to leave. And then when Cleo mentions that she saw Farah, Charles gets really defensive and on edge. And that makes Cleo wonder, like, what the heck did happen between them? This does unravel the thread of their relationship. I won't give away the end of the story, but it becomes queer in the best way. It is a beautiful representation of the queer community. It has that found family, just like in Heartstopper. And I'm not going to say too much more. Again, I want you to experience it for yourself. You need to. But I will say that the choices that Cleo made made me really reconsider what I'm doing with my life. I was put off at the beginning, not gonna lie. I was like, I don't want to read about a man. Sorry. I loved this one. Highly recommend. That was So Long, Sad Love by Miriam Mao. That was a lot of fun. I need to read more. Obviously, I tend to lean towards lesbian fiction, but I would love to explore more aspects of queerness in the graphic novels that I read. So that's on my goals. Laura, do you have something to say to the class? Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. I don't know, what do people say? Like and subscribe? Bye.